The genesis of Soichiro Honda. Honda was born on November 17, 1906, in the Japanese province of Hamamatsu. He born into a poor family, supporting that 5 of his siblings died due to lack of food and to the severity of his family. Soichiro was the son of a very poor father who worked in a simple bicycle repair shop on the road, and his father's profession was a major reason for Soichiro Honda's attachment to bicycles. He helped him in his work in the workshop. His father also had a great influence on him and his career later. The boy Soichiro, at the beginning of his life, was not a diligent person. Rather, he was a failed student who evaded his homework, and he preferred walking in the streets to see cars and mechanisms rather than going to school, and cars became his first love. Honda said about that later, "I got tanned in front of the first car I saw in my life, and I believe that at this moment, I had the idea of inventing a car of my own design, even though I was a failed student in those days." In 1922, Honda was forced to give up his academic career, and at the age of 15 he left school to work, and he was still in the 8th grade. One of his motives for leaving his studies was that he hated the education method in his village, which he used to see as routine, and his desire to learn more about the work of engines, which prompted him to travel to the Japanese capital, Tokyo, where he embarked on his successful career. Soichiro Honda's career. After traveling to Japan, Soichiro Honda started working in a car repair shop to continue for 6 years, until he was able to learn everything related to cars. He decided to open his own workshop for maintenance, and in this small workshop Honda invented the first metal brakes for cars. After the whole world used wooden brakes, he was awarded the patent for that. This idea was his first stepping stone to the world of innovation, as he registered more than 470 innovations and 150 patents in his name. In 1938, Honda began designing piston rings, which are an important part of auto engine parts, and offered them to the Japanese car company Toyota, but the company refused at first. But Soichiro did not give up, but began to improve the rings to conform to the required conditions and submitted them again. To get great approval and sign a contract with Toyota to manufacture all piston rings for all the company's cars. First failure. After that, Soichiro decided to build a factory for the manufacture of staplers, and indeed he built his factory and achieved great profits, and was able to realize his first dreams. But he was not spared the challenges and difficulties, as it was the period of World War II, when he was surprised during that by a bomb that destroyed part of his factory, but he restored it and continued production. Soichiro Honda was not lucky again, as the factory was bombed for a long time. He renovated it for the second time and continued to work until the Japan earthquake occurred in 1945, which destroyed many things, including the factory, of which nothing was left, so that Honda's dreams collapsed and he lost everything he owned and became destitute. Because of the conditions of the war, Japan was exposed to an economic recession that caused a shortage of gasoline, and no one could drive his car, which Soichiro Honda took advantage of and exploited the resources available to him to connect a small generator from the waste of motors that works with kerosene on his pneumatic wheel. To make that idea Soichiro the focus of attention of many, his friends asked him to make similar bikes, and he actually designed 12 bikes. In 1948 he started working in the field of motorcycle design, and established his company and called it Honda, to design motorcycles. That design for which he took a new patent. After that his factory became the largest factory in Japan. The company's prosperity began in 1961, and it shipped 100,000 bicycles to the United States annually, and in 1968 the total number of bicycles shipped to America reached 1 million bicycles. By the mid-1980s, Honda had captured 60% of the global market share of bicycles, because it was simply affordable. However, his dream of cars kept haunting him. Honda entered the world of cars in 1962, when he started designing cars for racing, despite the opposition of the Japanese Ministry of Industry to that, due to the large number of car factories in the country. But he did not care, and he actually entered the car market in 1970, and with his determination and persistence he was able to surpass everyone and succeed. Honda was also able to invade the American market from its weak point, which is the production of engines that preserve the environment according to the specifications of the American government. And none of the giants in the automotive industry such as General Motors, Ford, Toyota, Mercedes and BMW succeeded in inventing an engine that meets this purpose. But Honda embarrassed everyone when he invented the first engine that is resistant to environmental pollution, and put his first car with a new engine in 1975 under the name City Car, and the car was a great success as soon as it was put on the market. Honda was revolutionary in his field, and he was not liked by the community of car manufacturers in Japan, especially when the global oil crisis occurred at the end of 1973. After the October War, and Japanese car manufacturers decided to raise prices and reduce production, but he was the only one who rejected this idea and fought it. And he did the opposite, that is, he doubled production and reduced prices, and thus he was able to become number one in the market. The man was known among his employees as Mr. Storm, because he would explode with anger when any employee did a foolish act. He was also known for being creative. Hated routine strongly, loved the new, preferred risk and experiment, and was also revolutionary in his administrative decisions. But he had determination invincible, and never give in to any problem. Honda is considered a risk of the first degree, as he was driving racing cars himself, at an insane speed, and once nearly died in an accident that occurred during a race. And he remained under hospital treatment for 3 months after the accident, and doctors advised him not to participate in races again. And with so he learned to fly the helicopter when he was 60 years old. After retirement, he devoted his life to public service, receiving a high decoration from the Emperor of Japan, and a special commendation from the American Chamber of the Automobile Industry. On August 5, 1991, Honda passed away at the age of 85, affected by liver failure, and left behind many achievements, successes, lessons and lessons. One of the most famous things he said, "When I look back now, I feel that I only reaped a series of failed actions, and a lot of regrets, but in return I am proud of what I achieved, and although I made a lot of mistakes, one after the other, but there is no mistake or failure repeated twice. Therefore, I assure you that success is only 1% of our work, which results in 99% of our failure."